Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to read a testimonial for Daniel, who was born with CP, from his mother. She is not cameragenic, so I'm going to read her words on her behalf for him. Danny was born twin B, 3 months preterm. Primary diagnosis was cerebral palsy. Danny has developed a significant subluxation over the years, typical to his condition. The subluxation with shockwave therapy from TRT LLC in Woodstock, Georgia, other therapies and massage therapy that I've performed with different modalities, using microcurrent, rock blading, manual therapy, orthopedic massage therapy techniques, have begun to lessen the subluxation. We will know for sure once we repeat the x-rays with his doctor in a few months. That will be an all tell for that. Danny has also has like hyperlordosis. This seems to be diminishing after each treatment. So with shockwave treatment and the multimodality approach we've been using, we're starting to see half a degree, a tenth of a degree, a couple degrees of just opening out of the hyperlordosis, and his back is starting to flatten where it was once rock hard. The aponeurosis, the thoracolumbar aponeurosis of the low back was hard as a rock, and now it's softened and it's getting supple, able to be manipulated. For years, Danny has also worn AFOs, artificial foot orthotics, and the development of the calf muscles were severely inhibited. We used the shockwave therapy device on his calves. They've started to develop. We've been targeting his ankles. We've got his once locked down ankles to be mobile. This is a indication for use for shockwave therapy, because you can Google it and find it, and it says mobilization of tightened tonic tissues. I've noticed more flexibility of the ankle joint. Although his natural preference is dorsiflexion, he can achieve plantar flexion a bit easier. Also, I've noticed a slight increase in his rocker bottom feet and the release of his prominent bunions on his great toe joints. Perhaps the most significant improvement yet has been his sleep patterns. For years, Danny has had sleep issues. We have had to address these issues by means of doctors, sleep specialists, and medications, and all to no avail. Danny has gone from 2 to 4 hours a night of sleeping to 6 to 8 hours a night. Another important area of improvement since using shockwave therapy is his speech. He now engages in conversation a bit more freely and clearer. I believe this is an effect of improved sleep pattern. His body can undergo cellular repair and hormonal balancing, etc., which all of this affects his growth and development, all allowing for better processing of pathways and development. And one more thing, Danny sees a specialized functional neurologist, and when the functional neurologist does this testing, he would normally yield responses to test of areas of need, multiple areas of need each time. Since starting the shockwave therapy, Danny yields 1 to 3 areas of need, if any, whereas before he was more like five to 6, 7 of them. So Danny's body is acting better on a cellular level. Some of it is not gross motor that we can physically see, some of it is. The fact that remains is that as a clinical exercise physiologist and medical massage therapist and activity-based therapy specialist, or paralysis recovery specialist, for the past 11 years, I've been able to see multiple modalities applied to people's bodies following paralysis that vendors from around the world have demonstrated devices to, the businesses I've worked for, and I've learned some of those devices, I've mastered some of those devices, and just in a scope of outside of the box thinking to use these things to better assist someone to gain recovery following loss function, whereas it's not in policy for the traditional model. It's not a shot at the traditional model to say, hey, we have to go through a lot to get something through the FDA to get it done and then get it into policy, into practice. So being that as it is, we have been able to employ some techniques that have shown change not only in Danny, but his twin brother, functional capabilities. And as a practitioner, I couldn't be more overjoyed that if it's not weekly or sometimes day to day, we're seeing new change happen in their bodies. And that, as a practitioner, is validating. I'm going to write about it. We're going to document it. We're going to say, well, but these are two boys against the world of science, and we know that takes a lot, 10, 20 years of research and documentation from places that I don't even want to speak about. But the bottom line is, I'm affecting their lives at ground zero, and that's what matters. And sometimes we've got to put things aside and say, hey, look, it may not become clinical practice, but I can teach others and share with others how this is working and go from there. So thank you.